In the deep, dark tunnels of the Tiyuko Metro, a legend whispers among the night guards. They speak of a vengeful spirit, a half-bodied student from a forgotten time, who drags herself through the shadows, Sickling, and you'll know she's near by the faint, metallic tick against the rails. One guard, on a cold and lonely night, thought the stories were just rumors until he heard the ticking. This is his story. The hum of the fluorescent lights was Kenji's only companion in the suffocating silence of the Tiyuko Metro's depths. It was a sound he had grown accustomed to, a low, buzzing drone that filled the void left by the departed crowds and the last train's fading rumble. Tonight, however, the silence felt different. It was heavier, pressing in on him from the yawning darkness of the tunnels that stretched out like black, gaping maws on either side of the deserted platform. Kenji was a veteran guard, a man whose pragmatic nature had long ago dismissed the ghost stories traded by the younger, more impressionable recruits. He'd heard them all, the phantom footsteps, the disembodied whispers, and the most famous of them all, the tale of the ticking terror. A girl, they said, cut in half by a train decades ago, her torso forever doomed to crawl the tracks. Her name lost to time, but her presence announced by the sickening tick of her fingernails or a small, rusted sickle scraping against the steel rails. To Kenji, it was just that, a story. A way to pass the lonely hours and spook the rookies. He took a slow sip of his lukewarm coffee. The bitter taste, a familiar anchor to reality. His shift was nearly halfway done. A monotonous cycle of patrols from one end of the station to the other. He checked his watch, the hands ticking away the minutes with agonizing slowness. 2:10 in the morning. The station was a concrete tomb, the air thick with the smell of ozone, damp stone, and something else. Something metallic and faintly coppery, like old blood. He wrinkled his nose, attributing it to a leak, or perhaps a dead rat. The metro was full of them. Pushing himself up from his chair in the small security office, he grabbed his heavy-duty flashlight and began his patrol, the beam cutting a stark white path through the gloom. The empty advertising posters on the walls seemed to watch him, their smiling faces grotesque masks in the dim light. Each step he took echoed unnaturally loud, a solitary drumbeat in the vast, empty chamber. As he reached the far end of the platform, where the tunnel plunged into absolute blackness, a sound reached him. It was faint, almost imperceptible at first, easily mistaken for the dripping of water or the settling of the ancient structure. Tick. He paused, his head tilted, straining to hear it again. Silence. He shook his head, a wry smile touching his lips. The power of suggestion was a funny thing. The rookie's stories were finally getting to him. He was about to turn back when he heard it again, clearer this time. It was a rhythmic, metallic sound, and it was coming from deep within the tunnel. Kenji's smile vanished, replaced by a knot of unease tightening in his stomach. His heart began to beat a little faster, a frantic counter-rhythm to the steady, methodical ticking. He shone his flashlight beam deep into the tunnel, but the light was swallowed by the oppressive darkness, revealing nothing but the twin lines of the rails gleaming faintly before disappearing into the void. The sound grew louder, closer. Tick, tick, tick. It was the sound of metal scraping against metal, a deliberate, patient, and relentless advance. Kenji's hand, now slick with sweat, tightened its grip on the flashlight. Every instinct screamed at him to run, to retreat to the relative safety of his brightly lit office and lock the door. But he was a guard. It was his job to investigate. It could be anything, he reasoned, his mind racing to find the logical explanation. A piece of debris caught on a maintenance drone, a malfunctioning signal box. But the sound was too organic, too deliberate. It was the sound of something dragging itself along the tracks. He took a hesitant step towards the edge of the platform, peering down into the track bed. The air that rose from the tunnel was frigid, carrying with it that coppery stench, now stronger and more nauseating. The ticking was painfully close now, seeming to come from just beyond the point where his flashlight beam gave out. Then he saw it. A shape emerged from the darkness, slowly, agonizingly, pulling itself into the edge of the light. Kenji's breath hitched in his throat, a choked gasp that was swallowed by the immense silence. It was the upper half of a body. A girl, dressed in the tattered remnants of a school uniform, her hair long and matted, obscuring her face. Her arms were stretched out in front of her hands raw and bloody, and in one of them, she clutched a small, roosted Sickle. With each movement, she dragged her torso forward, the sickle scraping against the rail with a sharp, ear-splitting tick. Her lower body was gone, a mangled, dark mess that left a wet, glistening trail behind it. Kenji was frozen, his feet routed to the spot. His mind refused to process what his eyes were seeing. This wasn't real. It couldn't be. It was a nightmare, a hallucination brought on by lack of sleep and too much coffee. The girl stopped, as if sensing his presence. Slowly, she lifted her head. The matted hair fell away from her face, revealing a visage of pure, unadulterated malice. One eye was a milky, dead orb, while the other burned with an hateful fire that seemed to pierce right through him. Her mouth twisted into a silent snarl, revealing broken, yellowed teeth. She raised the sickle, the rusted metal glinting in the beam of his flashlight. Kenji's legs finally unlocked. A primal scream tore from his lungs as he scrambled backward, tripping over his own feet and crashing hard onto the concrete platform. His flashlight flew from his grasp, skittering across the floor and plunging the area into near-total darkness, save for the weak emergency light spaced far apart along the station wall. He could still hear it. The ticking had stopped. In its place was a new sound, a wet, scraping noise, followed by the thud of something heavy landing on the platform. She was climbing up. He crab-walked backward, his hands scraping against the gritty floor, his eyes wide with terror, fixed on the edge of the platform. A hand, pale and streaked with filth and blood, appeared over the edge, its fingers curling, digging into the concrete. Then, another, with a sickening lurch, the half-baited girl pulled herself onto the platform. She was faster now, scuttling across the floor towards him like a grotesque insect. Her one good eye locked on him, her dead eye staring into nothingness. The sickle was gone, left behind on the tracks, but it didn't matter. Her raw, broken fingernails would be enough. The coppery smell was overwhelming, a thick, cloying miasma that filled his lungs and made him gag. Her silent, hateful face drew closer and closer, a mask of eternal agony and vengeance. Kenji opened his mouth to scream again, but no sound came out. The last thing he saw was her hand reaching for his ankle, her burning eye reflecting his own terrified face as the darkness finally took him. The next morning, the dash of guards found Kenji's flashlight lying by the edge of the platform, its battery dead. Of Kenji himself, there was no sign, only a faint, dark trail leading from the platform edge to the mouth of the tunnel, and the lingering, metallic scent of old blood. The legend of the ticking metro had claimed another believer, a terrifying true horror story experience. Based on creepy urban legends. Will you dare to take the last train? Like, comment, and subscribe for more terrifying tales from the shadows.